this video we're going to be talking about the Fibonacci sequence, golden ratio, and the rule of thirds. This is a painting, very famous painting by Hokusai from Edo period. It's a Japanese artist. Well, he was a Japanese artist. And it's titled The Great Wave of Kanagawa. It's a tsunami wave, right? Now, the reason why this painting is so famous and it's so powerful is because it's literally a Fibonacci spiral, okay? Just into, change into a shape of a wave. Extremely powerful in terms of composition. It's offset to the left, facing to the right. Beautiful negative space. Points you down to this boat and the Fuji, which is a symbol of Japan. This is an extremely powerful image, okay? And the reason why is it powerful is because it's following the Fibonacci sequence and the Fibonacci spiral. But why is this Fibonacci spiral so powerful? Well, this spiral and this ratio, the golden rule, golden ratio is based on a very clear mathematical formula. But the fascinating thing is that it's appearing in nature all over, okay, including our DNA. There's so many different nature designs out there, or happenings in nature that are following the Fibonacci sequence or the spiral or the golden ratio that is just mind-boggling, okay? It's uncanny. So we are used to seeing these things in nature, okay? And this is why this Fibonacci sequence or images are designed based on that is so natural and powerful to us, okay? It's just, you can't cheat nature. That's how it works. So if you look at the Fibonacci sequence, I'm going to give you a clean example. You will see that it's divided into rectangles and squares. If you grab this big rectangle here, okay, and you divide it into smaller rectangles, you're going to get a perfect square and a rectangle. Then you divide this rectangle into perfect square and a rectangle, and so on and so forth. You'll create an interesting ratio between them that's going to follow Fibonacci sequence. And the sequence goes 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, and so forth. How does it work? Well, if you add two previous numbers, you're going to get the next number. So 0 plus 1, that's 2. 1 plus 2, it's 3. 2 plus 3, it's 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. 5 plus 8 is 13. And so on and so forth. So that's a Fibonacci sequence. But now, how do you compute these, edges of this rectangle inside of the Fibonacci, inside of the golden rule? Well, it's an interesting formula which basically sums up to 1.618, which is a Fibonacci number. So if you take the edge A and add it to the edge B and divide it by A, you will receive 1.618. Now, if you're going to take the edge A and divide it by B, you will also get 1.618. So A plus B divided A equals A divided B. And that's how this Fibonacci, this golden ratio is built, okay? So that's the math behind it. Do you need to know it? No. But what's important to know here is that the result of it, okay, is 1, natural composition, and 2, most importantly, offset. If you look at this Fibonacci spiral here and this golden ratio, you will see that the importance is pushed to the left. It's basically offset to the left in this case, right? Offset. It's not symmetrical, it's offset. If you divide it by, divide this rectangle into 3 parts, you're going to get odd number. You're going to get 3 parts, right? So 1, 2, 3. So this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So rule of thirds, what it does, it simplifies the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio and kind of divides your image into 9 elements. And that's an odd number. And the key to good composition is odd numbers, okay? Odd, not evens, but odds. You could technically symmetrize something, but it's going to look less powerful unless you know what you're doing with lights and everything. But usually, a very powerful composition is a composition that's offset, okay? That's offset. And let me show you examples from my work. Boom, that's one example. This is a very powerful image. I am emphasizing and exaggerating on purpose the negative space to make it more thoughtful, more intimate. Every single image that I was creating usually follows, a very powerful Fibonacci sequence or rule of thirds. And I'm slightly breaking the rules by sometimes exaggerating it, okay? Pushing it even further. If you, for example, look at this image and you divide it into 9 sections, so one line, second line here, here, And here, you'll see that this eye here is literally on the cross of the lines. So if I overlay the rule of thirds on this rectangle here, so if we're going to grab that and, you know, we're going to move it here on top and crop it, and I'm going to overlay a rule of thirds on top of this example, you will see what I mean. So I'm going to grab a brush and I'm going to draw lines, one here. Let me just make it straight, okay? So one here and another here, and one of them is going to be somewhere here and the other one's going to be somewhere here. So rule of thirds will more or less follow the Fibonacci sequence, and the focus of attention of your images should go to wherever these points are crossing, okay? That's the rule of thirds. So rule of thirds basically is a simplification of Fibonacci spiral or the golden ratio, okay? How to apply it in art? Well, you will need to think about offsetting things, about making things uneven, about breaking the symmetry, about breaking the order, breaking the rhythm, at the same time creating a new rhythm, a new design, a new sort of a new flow of elements in your image that kind of follow, you know, either the Fibonacci spiral or the rule of thirds. This is really essential to remember, guys. Rules are important, but what's more important is mastering the rule and then breaking them. Because when you break the rules, that's when you create fantastic images. Following the rules will make you a good artist. Knowing how to break them gonna make you a great artist, okay? So mastering this, you know, Fibonacci sequence and rule of thirds is half of the journey, okay? The other half is learning how to break these rules, and that's when, you know, it takes years and years to master, all right? Because you need to feel it. The breaking of rules is not based on math, it's based on feeling. You need to become nature itself, basically, okay? You need to be a sort of an entity that knows how to, you know, create a bit of a chaos, bring a bit of a disruption, dichotomy, you know, dissonance into your image to kind of, you know, disturb the surface of the water so it's not so boring. Do you know what I mean? That's how I would suggest you think about golden ratio and rule of thirds. So don't apply it mindlessly. Do it consciously, but not mindlessly, okay? That's really important. So then you might ask, you know, how this image is breaking the rules. Well, if you look at it, right, the Fibonacci sequence of the spiral, the golden ratio, doesn't cover the entire image. It's just a section of it. So it's a frame within a frame, right? So, you know, you can't overlay this over entire image, just a portion of it, and that's the trick. So, like I said, mastering the rules is stage 1. Breaking the rules, that's stage 2. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.